Okay, so we did one sun salutation, and for those of you who are very familiar with the practice, this next one I'm just going to talk you through a few more flows and variations of the sun salutation in the style that I call Vinyasa flow. I studied with my teacher Shiva. I've been studying with her for probably 19 years, and it's a very creative practice, and I wouldn't say that I teach how or what she teaches. I teach how I've learned to feel and move because of the learnings that I have had from her. So anyways, it's meant to feel really good in your body, and I realized that I might need to move the camera just a little bit farther back so that you can get my whole self, but mostly I'll be talking you through the flows. Okay, so stand at the front of your mat. It doesn't matter if you can't see my head, just listen to what I'm saying, and if you need anything, I will, if anything, put pictures of the poses when I'm talking or I'm not in the pose. So grounding down through your feet, go to lift your toes. Feel like your feet are about hip width, which means maybe 1.5 inches between the inner lines of the feet. The big toes, the middle of your feet, and your heels. Lift the toes, spread them wide. When you lower them, just kind of press the toe pads into the ground. It feels really good to feel grounded. Inhale, sweep the arms up like you're touching the ceiling. And then as you exhale, soften the knees to come into a forward fold. So notice your forward fold here. So look here, I'm going to have my one hand at the back of my head. Notice what it feels like when you tuck your chin using the weight of your hand behind your head. A lot of time our neck muscles are used to holding our head up, and we have to let go of that when we come into a forward fold. So really let the head go. And then inhale, come halfway up, lengthen the spine. Step back to plank. Look forward as you're lowering, chaturanga. And then deep breath into upward facing dog, lift the gaze. You don't have to look at the ceiling above your head, maybe just the ceiling in front of you. And then exhale into down dog. Inhale, lift the right leg back and up. Step the foot forward, come up to a high lunge. Activate the left heel and the right knee. And then exhale, both hands down. Ground your left hand, and then lift the right arm up, so you'll be in a twist. When you're in this twist, so stay in the twist, but I'm going to face the camera. Your right arm is up, the left hand, feel it plug into the ground, like you're anchoring the knuckles and the fingertips into the ground, and then reach like you're touching the ceiling with your right hand, and then you'll really open up a lot of space in your chest. Breathe into that space. And then lower the right hand, step back to plank. Look forward as you exhale, lower. Feel free to set the knees down. Inhale, upward facing dog. And then as you exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg. Step forward. Again, you can help your foot forward up to a high lunge, lifting up. And again, take some long, deep breaths here. Look forward and slightly up, so it keeps the torso really open. And then when you're reaching, again, feel like you're touching the ceiling on the floor above you. So not just this ceiling, but like you're reaching up to the next floor, making a lot of space. So notice how I really activate to lift up. And then as you exhale, both hands down. Ground the right hand and then lift the left arm. So it feels really good to twist again. Notice the hips stay as though they're facing, the front of my hips would be facing the floor. And then my shoulders open to the side. Lift like you're touching the ceiling with your left hand, but keep the right hand anchored into the ground. And then breathe into the space of the heart. So we do a lot of feeling and living in our heart. So really give yourself a lot of space for the heart to be. And then exhale, both hands down. Step back to plank. Look forward as you exhale, chaturanga. And then inhale, upward facing dog. And then exhale to downward facing dog. So when you're in down dog, again, feel the chest shift towards your thighs. And then feel like you're lifting the sit bones, so you make a lot of space. Like if you can imagine like your body is making a tent, feel like the skin on the front side of your body lifts up away from the ground to make a little bit more space in the tent. And then finish the exhalation, lightly step or hop the feet forward. Inhale halfway up, hands to the shins or on your knees. And then exhale into a forward fold, up to standing, sweeping the arms. And then exhale, hands come down. You can just have the hands at the heart or down by your side, whatever feels good. Close your eyes. And then just notice how you're feeling. A little bit more heat, maybe. A little bit more breath. A little bit more alive, a little bit more awake. This is what we're up to when we're practicing yoga. Like, it's not about the pose, it's how we feel because we're doing the practice. So again, inhale, sweep the arms up. And then exhale into a forward fold. Really soften your back body. Inhale, come halfway up, lift the torso, and then step back to plank. Look forward as you're lowering halfway down or all the way down. Feel free to set the knees down. Inhale to upward facing dog, and then exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg back and up. Step the foot forward, and then again up to a high lunge. Inhale, coming up. And then again, lift your gaze up so you have some space on the front side. And then this time, hands to the inside of the foot. Walk across to your left, transverse lunge. And then let your left elbow press against the inner knee. So it gives you a little bit more stretch. You feel the inner thigh stretch. And just breathe here. So if you're really new to this, it's a lot of muscles that we're not used to feeling. So in a past video, I was saying like, sometimes we don't even feel our body. Like we think we do, but you know, like when was the last time you just thought, oh, there's my inner thigh, I need to activate it, or oh, that really stretches. We feel it if we overuse it and it's tight, but just notice how that feels and breathe like you're drawing the breath from your nose into that space. And then go ahead and come back through the center, back to the front. Ground your left hand, lift the right arm up, reaching. So we're twisting here. Align the right wrist and shoulder over your left wrist and shoulder. And then as you exhale, both hands down, step the back foot in just about halfway. Straighten the right leg. Inhale halfway up, just like you're looking at that point 10 inches in front of your foot. And then on your exhalation, just soften the elbows. Feel free to soften the right knee, but make sure you're feeling some stretch in your right hamstring. And when you do that, like we're stretching a muscle that is usually weight bearing. So we're usually sitting or standing on this leg. So it's a muscle that does a lot of weight bearing. So as you draw the right hip back, you'll feel a little bit more intensity. Find that place, as I was describing, on a scale of 1 to 10, like 5 to 7. Like 1, you feel nothing. 10, you can't stand it. And that 5 to 7 is like, oh, feels so good. It might hurt so good, but don't go to the place where it hurts. Like feel like it's still good. And that's like a big part of yoga. It's like really feeling what's good and getting used to that feeling. Because off the mat, we'll say yes, we'll say yes, we'll say yes to everything that people ask us to do. And then suddenly we're like, wait, that doesn't feel good. I've taken on too much, or I'm not doing it well, and that doesn't feel good. So really get used to feeling good. And feeling good doesn't mean feel easy. Feeling good means like I'm steady, I'm strong, I'm breathing, and this is good. And I'm using my life in a way that is impactful. Take another deep breath. Exhale deeply. Inhale, come halfway up, just lift the chest, and then just step back to down dog. And again, if you like, you can go through vinyasa, plank, halfway down as you exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, make space between the neck and the ears, or the shoulders and the ears and the neck. And then as you exhale to down dog. Other side, inhale with the left leg. Exhale, stepping forward. I'm going to talk you through this. So inhale up to a high lunge. Lift the ribs, lift your upper body off the lower body. Activate your left knee and your right heel in opposite directions. And then exhale, hands to the inside of the foot. You're going to walk over to the right. So it's going to look like this on your right side, where you're bending the right knee and stretching through the inner thigh. And then just close your eyes and breathe. If you're not new to this pose and you're looking for a little more sensation, bend the elbows like you're holding a push-up, or like you want to look at something on the floor. And then as you do that, you put a little more weight into your arms, and that takes the weight off the legs, so then the muscles can really deepen in the stretch. Make sure you're breathing. So that is a big part of the practice, is making room and then adding a lot of breath. And just really being grateful for this life. Be grateful for whoever showed up for you today. Be grateful for you for showing up for you today. And just really feel the muscles that get you from here to there, that get you from the bed to the kitchen table. Be grateful for the muscles and all of the organs and functions in our body that have us show up. Go ahead and walk your hands back to the front. You'll ground your right hand, and then inhale, lift the left arm. And then in your mind's eye, imagine your right hand, the fingertips, the knuckles anchoring into the ground. And then imagine your left fingertips really touching the sky. And then feel that connection between the earth and the sky. And you fill up that space. Breathe deeply into that space. Really feel like there's space in the heart, space in the shoulder joints, space in the elbows. As you exhale, both hands down, come into pyramid, back foot steps in just halfway, straighten the left leg, and again, you're going to modify. If this is too intense, bend your left knee. You want it to feel good, like space, stretch, open, but not strain. Because if you strain a muscle when you're in a pose and you're like, I must be doing yoga because I feel it, and then you go off the mat and it hurts, it's going to slow you down. That's not why we do yoga. We really practice yoga to make space, to make healthy muscles, healthy joints, so you can go far and fast when you're off the mat. That is the practice, is a more effective, impactful, efficient life off the mat, because the work that you do here is powerful and purposeful and intentional and not straining. It's easy, but not easy. So go ahead and inhale, come halfway up. Step back to down dog. If you like, you can go through vinyasa, plank, halfway down chaturanga, upward facing dog. Lift the face towards the space in front of you, and then exhale to down dog. Again, feel that lift in the hips. Finish the exhalation. Walk. You can also hop your feet forward, and then inhale halfway up. Exhale, soften into a forward fold. Up to standing, inhaling. And then as you exhale, hands come down. Soften the gaze or close the eyes. Breathe deeply. Notice what it feels like to have a lot more space. And notice what it feels like to live with a lot more space. Who are you when you're not in this small space? Who are you when you have movement and ease and awareness of your back body as well as your front side, of your blind spots as well as everything that everyone can see? Who are you? That's what the big question of yoga is are you your most expansive self? Are you shining in a way that gives light to other people? That's the practice. So go ahead and inhale, lift the arms up. Hold the left wrist. So I'm going to be standing. Hold the left wrist, and then exhale over towards the right. So notice the hips shift over. It's not just the upper body. So here's the upper body, and then shift the hips Then you get into contracting the right side and then lengthening the left side. Relax your left arm and then use the right hand to lengthen the left arm so you get a lot more space down the side body. So again, these are the muscles that are usually contracted during the day. Our arms are down, we are carrying stuff in our arms, these muscles are contracted. We have a lot of organs here. On our left side, we have our liver, we have our kidneys, we have our digestive organs, to really give space for those organs to function. And then really feel like the space that opens up between the ribs, the lungs can inflate into that space. And then inhale, come back up. And then just lower the arms. Feel the difference between left and right. Just close the eyes. Feel what space feels like. So that when you're off the mat, you know what space feels like. And people come into your life and they're like, do this for me, do that for me, or, here's my energy, and this is what I'm feeling. And you're like, hey, sometimes we can literally feel that overwhelm, and you're like, give me some space. But really, feel what it feels like physically and internally to have space. Inhale, sweep the arms out, hold the right wrist, and then exhale over towards your left. Shift your hips to the left. So again, I'm just going to kneel so I can stay in the camera frame, but shift your hips to the left. Let the head rest on your left arm. Another thing to kind of in your mind's eye visualize, imagine you're looking up and to the right, and that keeps the chest open. So otherwise, if you look down, it decreases the sensation on this right side. If you look up and to the right and then lengthening the right side, it really opens up more effectively. Stay here, relax your right arm, let the left hand just gently pull a little bit more, shift the hips to the right, soften the head onto your left arm, inhale back up, and then exhale, lower the arms. And then just close the eyes, feel what it feels like to live with space. It's easy on your organs, it's easy on your heart. It feels really good and spacious. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale into a forward fold. Soften as you go forward. So you're in a forward fold. Halfway up, hands against the shins, lift the chest. And then exhale, step back to plank. Look forward as you exhale and lower. Feel free to have the knees on the floor, chaturanga. And then inhale into upward facing dog. And then exhale to downward facing dog.